I got two more videos pertaining to this Caitlin Clark thing. Because I do want to talk about, could it be a product when it comes to the national media of race? You know, could it be an issue of race? Caitlin Clark, she's a young, very, very talented, but she's a white young lady entering a, I'm not going to quite say a predominantly African American league, because I think the WNBA is a little bit more diverse
Yeah,
than
it is.
any other major leagues, like the NBA and the NFL. But she's a young star entering this, and it does seem like she does get some grace versus other players, as in Angel Reese or Kennedy Carter or whoever else there may be. So I do have a video from this is actually from CNN. That's what I'm saying. This
Ooh,
made it to CNN,
Wow.
guys. That's why you heard me mention it earlier.
wow.
Now you make
This
it to
is
CNN.
CNN.
That's
This
a
is
big that's a
CNN.
big that's a big thing. So here's a video. This is with Sherry Champion, and I believe it's Bob Costa, if I said his name right.
Costa.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Costa. Thank you. So here it is now.
To your earlier point, there was an incident recently. Alyssa Thomas, who happens to be African American, grabbed Angel Reese by the throat and threw her to the floor. Flagrant 2, ejected from the game. The reason why that doesn't spark as much conversation isn't just that Caitlin Clark is a bigger star than Alyssa Thomas. It's because it's a black on black incident.
Wow.
And you
Well,
don't have
And
that dynamic that people can comment on, yes, but also exaggerate and make the entire story
And
sometimes.
also,
Well,
no
that
one
is really
cares.
that is between
No
the
one
lines. What's
cared
going
about
on
the
here.
WNBA when women of a certain color were beating up and bruising each other, because it's been happening since the league's inception. We have this star, this person that people love. They want to protect her. So now the new fans and the new analysts and the new people have so much to say. Bob, thank you for saying that and acknowledging that, because you're a legend in this sport. And you are also gracious enough to say, look, I'm not an expert in the WNBA, but what I do know from the history and what I do know, this is why she is being treated this way,
Yes,
and why no
because
one
I've,
cares
se-
about
I've
juries.
seen it in every sport.
I mean-
a newcomer is tested and to some extent resented.
My apologies if the video was kind of going in and out. I don't know what's going on, technology, that's what happens. But we got the overall hint of what the video, what they were talking about in the video. So K-Rock, I want to get your thoughts first on what they were saying.
Yeah, first of all, Bob Costas is one of my favorite out there. He does it so professionally, so eloquently, man. Really, and he's spot on. You saw the ladies and how much they admired, him and what he recognizes, and he's absolutely right. I mean, he's absolutely right there. This is, we're talking about. We want to give Angel Reese and give Cardoza and all these ladies, Kia Jackson, some of the top picks out there, they're due. But when you're talking about Caitlin Clark, who's the number one player out there, who's getting all the recognition, she happens to be white. So we're talking. It's like Bird, when Larry Bird first came into the league, back in the 80s. A lot of people were the great white hype, if you will, and that's what she's about. This is what it is. It's what it is, man. Is as much as I wanted to sit here and sing "We Are the World" and I wanted to bring everyone together and hold hands, I mean, like Britt, we had a conversation, a while back, and you said I was naive to the situation. I mean, I wasn't being naive. I was just hoping that we could just bring this all together, but it's not the case. It's not the case. It's not going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. I tried. I tried my best. It's not going to happen. But all seriousness, yeah, it's about that. I mean, we're talking about an African American woman, female, hitting, and the great white hype, the great white hope, who a lot of people are saying that she's the reason why the WNBA is at the height that it is right now. And then a lot of people are saying that they're resenting that, and we talked about the jealousy aspect and all of that. But yeah, it's. I think, is she having the best rookie season right now? I don't know. Because the reason why I said that, because she could be like Isaiah Thomas said when Larry Bird first got into the league. If Larry Bird was a black basketball player, he would just be another good ball player. If he was black, he'd just be another good basketball player. And you got to ask yourself, if Caitlin Clark were black, would she get all of this hype, and would all of this stuff be surrounding? Would we be talking about it? Would it reach Bob Costas and CNN? You know what I mean? And the answer would be no, because we talked about the Angel Reese incident and Thomas and what happened there. Way more malicious than what took place with Kennedy and with Caitlin there. So yeah, we have to address that. As much as we want, and we want to not see color, we know that's what it's about.
Yeah, K-Walk, I agree with you. I thought, in the video they said it perfectly as well. I know a lot of us, we get on these platforms and we try to be as politically correct as possible. We want to get too offensive or go too far left, go too far right, whatever it may be. But we got to call a spade a spade. We got to call it for what it is. Unfortunately, we live in a black and white society, which sucks. And we've seen it when these girls were in college. Caitlin Clark will talk her crap, would do her hand motion. And me as a basketball player, I love it because I'm a competitor, right? Former basketball player. I'm no longer a basketball player, but you know what I mean.
Once a basketball player, always a basketball player, Brett.
Thank you, K-Walk.
Don't let no one take that from you. Don't let no one take that from you.
That's what I'm talking about. So I fall down, break an ankle, then I'm like, I need to sit down somewhere. But anyway,
just a hurt basketball player. That's all.
But as a competitor, I appreciate that. But the way the national media gave her grace and raised her up, lifted her up. Now, when Angel Reese did the same thing, they made her look like the complete and utter villain. She was a bad person. She's this. She's horrible. She's horrific. She's that. She's a thug. And I'm like, well, wait a minute here. If you really pay attention to Angel Reese, she's a fantastic player. She's a great teammate. She loves her and respects her coach, even though we didn't like her head coach, but she adored her head coach. And she stood up so many times, not only for herself, but for other players in the league, in college. And she's doing the same thing in the WNBA. She has incredible leadership abilities, but they don't see that side of it. They just want to see the other side. And I understand. I do believe that Caitlin Clark has given the NBA, has raised the NBA to the next level, or is helping to elevate it to the next level. But guess what, guys? There's at least two players that I know that's in college basketball right now within the next, I think they come out after 4 years, Juju, and then I can never think of her name. So excuse me, young lady. But the young lady from Notre Dame, purely dominant.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to take the yes. They're going to take the WNBA to another level. So every so many years, there's an incredible player that comes out that's going to elevate the WNBA. We have seen it from the time of inception in '96. It has happened with Candace Parker. It has happened, I think, Diana Taurasi, which is another white player. We might forget that she's white, but she's a white player. And now we see it with Caitlin Clark, and it's just going to continue down the line. But we will be kidding ourselves to say that race doesn't play a part. I mean, he just said it in the video. You see Alyssa Thomas and Angel Reese. People don't really care about that. We just seen it the other day. I think Kennedy Carter has done it before. Multiple times. And you heard former WNBA players say, I've had some run-ins with Kennedy Carter. Yeah. They don't care about that. But once you tap on Caitlin Clark, the young white female star, and I love Caitlin Clark, it's a problem. Let's change the rules. Let's protect her. She's our cash cow. She's this, she's that.
Golden goose.
Well, wait a minute. At the end of the day, she's still a ball player. So, and a ball player, if she's struggling right now, she got to get better. And she's going to get better eventually. But stop with that negative narratives. And we see it in our everyday lives, guys. We go to work, we got to be freaking perfect just to get a promotion half the time. Well, the next guy next to us who looks nothing like us could have some mistakes, and they making, I'm like, you like, hold up, I do their job. How the heck did they get promoted? So like, we've seen this. This is a known thing throughout history, and it's unfortunate that it's still continuing. But on top of that, now we're dealing with women at the same time. We're women. Well, I'm women, so I got to go with them. We're women at the same time, so we're Black and we're women at the same time dealing with this. But Jay, what's your thoughts?
Look, I thought Bob Costas articulated it extremely well, right? I mean, I don't think you can say it any better than the way that he said it. And we've seen it before. Like, I'm sure, like with Magic and Bird, I'm sure there was a race component in that whole thing as well. But Magic was so likable, it was hard for them to paint him as a villain. Whereas with Angel Reese and Caitlyn stemming back from college, it was a little easier for them to paint her as a villain because of some of the antics and things like that. But guys, we live in America. Of course, there is a racial component to this thing. Like, there's absolutely no doubt about it. There's a racial component to it. K-Walk, I thought you asked like the $10 million question. If Caitlin Clark was Black, would and played the exact same way, did all the same things, it's a great question. Like, would the popularity, would the fanfare, would it have been the same? And I'm not saying I know the answer to it, because obviously with the explosion of media and attention, and we see some of the attention that Juju Watkins is getting and things like that. But that's a really excellent question. But yeah, Britt, I mean, there's always a racial component to it. And the other thing too is some of these media outlets, right? They're using some coded language. Like I saw one today, like with their title, "A Civil War Breaks Out." Now, why do you need to say civil war, right? So we have media outlets playing into the racial part of it as well. So yeah, I thought Bob Costas said it best. Very nuanced, thoughtful, and truthful with what he said.
Yeah, I mean, and let's also be real. Where is Caitlin Clark from?
Right. She played in Iowa. She's
right.
Middle America.
Yeah. Right. So, Midwest. And let's Midwest, predominantly probably called white. We're just gonna say white, Black, predominantly white area. And they're gonna all attract to her. So, and that's her. She is their precious princess right now. Don't touch her. So. And those are the fans and the new analysts that she's bringing in, which I can appreciate the new fandom.
For sure.
I absolutely appreciate it. But stop creating these unnecessary narratives. Go back and watch the game. Look at the other talent that's out there, and you can see how special this WNBA league really is, and how special these women are, and how elite they are as players. Before I get to the last video,
Britt, like with all that being said, like I think we all agree that Caitlin Clark was phenomenal in college, and we think she's going to be really good in the WNBA too. Right. Like we're not, as people say, hating on Caitlin Clark. We all think she's going to be a really good player.
Absolutely.
But let's just not put the cart before the horse. There were so many people that were just ready to crown her from day one, and it just doesn't work like that.
Absolutely not. We got a couple comments before I get into the last video, because I got to play the last video and then we move on. First one, Mark B. Again, thank you for just watching this. Hope you could share our channel as well. And thank you for your comment or your question. Do any of you guys know what Caitlin Clark is saying about these hard fouls? I've seen her coach crying, but I haven't heard too much from her directly. Any of you guys want to take?
To her credit, Britt, I think her responses to all of this sort of drama have been spot on.
Yes.
She said, hey, it's a physical league. I know people are making it tough on me. I'm not going to I think she has pretty much said all the right things in terms of some of the things that have happened. I'm sure she wants some of the calls out on the floor as all players do. But in terms of her interviews in the media and just saying, hey, I got to play through it. It's tough. It's physical. This is the way this league is. I think she said all the right things in the media.
Jay, do you think she's saying that to the players that hit her? You think she's saying that same?
No,
hey,
I'm sure behind closed doors, K-Walk, she might be
but,
singing a completely different song. But in the media, I think she said all the right
She's
things.
handling the media well. She's handling the media really well. There's a reason why we're talking about this. Go ahead.
I see her growth. I do see her growth just in a little bit of time, because I think the first time she went out there, I think it was a little like, they hitting me hard or, whatnot. But she's young. She's a rookie. That's going to happen. But now she's like, you know what? It's a part of the game. I got to get there. I got to get stronger. I just got to come back at them type of. You could see her growth. And that's what I like to see. So right now, she's not complaining. she's going along with it. She definitely got to get stronger because I think she got talent. We don't want her to be out the league, right? But again, time, it's going to come. Like that stardom that we've seen in college, that's going to get there. She's got to get used to this league and get used to the strength of these other ladies. All right, guys, we got one more comment, and then after the last video, Jordan Smith. Hey, that's my cousin. I know this person. I'm like, hold up, I know that name. She said, yes, if she was black, she still get the hype. That's a crazy statement.
I don't think it's a crazy statement. I mean, he might be right. She might still get all the hype, but I don't think asking the question is crazy. I really don't.
Wow. Yeah, definitely.
Oh, cousin or not, I disagree.
I don't think that's a crazy statement to ask.
Yeah, no, it's not.
I'm not just saying it because I said it. I brought it up. I really want to know if she was black. What does she be? What does all this hype be around? Around her?
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I think we got to understand it's not the NBA. So yeah, maybe if the NBA, she might just get the hype. But I don't think she'll get the hype in the WNBA right now. It's only 20 something years in existence right now. So I think at this point in time, no. Now, if you're asking me in 4 or 5 years, it might be a different story because now we got to get through this. We got to get through all of this, right? So right now at this moment, no, I don't think she's still the hype. I don't think the WNBA gets elevated to what it is because again, we have to think of where she is from and the fans that she's bringing in. They're going to be predominantly white. Let's be real. So, and when you're bringing in a predominantly white fan base, everybody in this country is going to pay attention. And what I mean by everybody is usually the national media who tends to lean left or right and try to get us to do the same.
That's a great point, Britt. If another player probably would not have brought this new fan base. And so I think that right there alone elevates the level of hype and interest and attention for sure.
Right. Absolutely. All right, guys, we're going to end it here. All right. I got one last video. And this is, excuse me, because I love her. She's a former WNBA player. Now she's an amazing host on ESPN. Shanae, help me out.
Yeah, her last name is tough.
I think can't say
it's Goomba K or something like that.
Yeah,
don't quote me on
something
that
like
one.
that. I thought she addressed this perfectly, so I'm going to play her video right now and just get your thoughts real quick on what she said. It's coming in now. Sorry if it's going in and out.
So this is my State of the Union WNBA edition. Let's start with the play. For those who may be new to this, the WNBA has always been a physical league full of competitive fire and trash talk. And on the full sequence of that play.
Uh-oh, don't tell me it froze on us. My goodness.
Like it froze up on us.
Competitive fire and trash talk. And on the full sequence of that play, Caitlin was talking. And in this league, no one backs down to trash talk. Now, I have played with Kennedy Carter, and her choice to retaliate on a non-basketball play was literally foul and something that she has struggled with her entire career. That was not okay. But one player's approach is not indicative of an entire league. All rookies, especially number one picks, I know what it's like, have been tested mentally, physically, emotionally, from Candace Parker to Sabrina Ionescu to Kelsey Plum to Skylar Diggins-Smith. And a few days ago, Alyssa Thomas was just ejected for a hard play on Angel Reese. Plays like this happen in sports, but now it's being used to further agendas that don't serve the game. So when it comes to women's athletes, there's this expectation that players in the heat of the game should constantly stop what they're doing and be appreciative of Caitlin. They should bow down instead of being the competitors that they are. These women are elite basketball players who are competitors, who show up and show out every night before the eyes were there on the game. We all know and we appreciate the unparalleled amount of growth and attention that Caitlin, I'm her biggest fan, is driving to help become the beacon of so much interest and engagement and viewership to this game. But that narrative, that actually does a disservice to her, because the ones who grind through that type of grind become beasts. This is not hate. This is hoops. Like any other sport that is professional at the highest level. And I hope people truly get to understand that.
Boy, did she say that right. Yeah. My goodness, did she talk your stuff. Talk your stuff, girl. That's what I'm talking about. Let's give her props right now. Yeah, she said it so eloquently right now. Oh, my goodness. But Jay, I'm coming to you first. What's your thoughts on that?
I can't really add anything to that, Britt. Like I agreed with everything she said. I thought, like you said, she articulated it really well. There's nothing really for me to add to that. I love what she said. She said it's not hate, it's hoops. And this is someone who's played in the league for a really long time, so she understands it. So yeah, I thought she articulated that perfectly.
Okay, Walk.
Yeah, I agree with Jay there. I mean, I agree with her as well. I mean, it can be hate as well because they're their opposing team. I mean, you can hate their opposing team,
right?
It's okay, yeah.
Right.
We know about the rivalries. You know, I know when you and I played together. To this day, I mean, even that day when the first day you and I played together, I didn't like Penn State. That's why I didn't go there. But I get it. I get it. And when sometimes when you seem like someone's getting the best of you, or you don't want them to get the best of you, you try to put them get in that situation and you make those type of plays. Like I get all the physicality of it. Again, other than Kennedy doing that, I don't have a problem with the hard screens, the hard fouls, things of that nature. But I totally agree with everything she laid out there.
Yes, and it was been some hard screens set on her. But I mean, I'm gonna also say this as well, because I kind of did want to end it just by her talking because she just said it so great. But I'm gonna mess it up a little bit. In these moments, and I do look at it from two perspectives on this because I just don't know which way to go. And I think Matt Barnes said it before, and I kind of agree with him. When Caitlin Clark, she's a rookie, she's new to this game, she's going to get the shots, like the cheap shots, the unnecessary shots that's going against her. Where are her teammates? And I don't know how to look at it. Is this a situation where they're looking at it like you can deal with it yourself? Or is this a situation of, I'm like, is there an attitude adjustment from either Caitlin Clark or her teammates? I don't know which way to go because I don't see that. Like when I watched Chicago Sky, they got Angel Reese's back. They got Kamala Cardoso's back. And those two girls got their back. The way I seen Kennedy Carter and Angel Reese standing up for one another, I'm not seeing that right now in the Indiana Fever's locker room. And it's making me somewhat concerned. And it's just like, is this a culture issue? Is this a player issue? From which player, I don't know. Is this maybe some frustration because of who Caitlin Clark is? It could be all together. I'm not concerned. I'm not exactly sure. But I have been watching that. She gets knocked down. She basically gets picked up. She picks herself up. It's very rare I see any of her teammates come in and run into her defense. So outside of her coach crying in the media, which I'm just like, stop that. I'm a little concerned about that. I don't know if you guys have thoughts on that, but I've paid attention to that a little bit. It kind of reminded me of the Carson Wentz Eagles situation when you knew something was wrong in that locker room. And Carson Wentz's attitude just wasn't right because you had Jason Kelce look at him like, get up, man, and just kept going.
Yeah, Britt, I consider myself a body language expert. And I've picked up on some body language with that team that it's like, I don't know, but something doesn't seem right. And like Aaliyah Boston, I feel like she has sort of tried to intervene from time to time. So I might excuse Aaliyah Boston from this, but everybody else, they haven't seemed too gung-ho to really step in or defend or help her up off the floor, defend her, or anything like that. Not saying that they've been like against her, but they just haven't been real gung-ho about trying to take care of her, I'll say. And really what I think it is, Britt, is that she's not the best right now, as it stands today, she's not even the best player on that team. I think the girl Kelsey Mitchell, I think her name is. I think she's the best player on the team right now. Now, someday I'm sure Caitlin will be, but I think some of those other players in the locker room are saying, look, right now you're not even the best player on this team, and you're getting all this praise, all this attention, all this hype. Simmer down a little. Like, that's kind of how I've seen it. K-Walk, I'd be interested to see what you think, but that's kind of what I picked up on.
Yeah, man, I think it has a lot to do with the money aspect of it. These ladies don't want to. They don't want to lose money, man. They don't want to lose. They like, listen, these paychecks are, we only play a certain amount of games.
Yeah,
we only get paid a certain amount. Well, we'll come to your rescue, but if we come to your rescue, it's going to cost us the game. It's going to cost us a game check. So we love you, Caitlin. We want you to do well, but I got a family to feed over here. The landlord is not going to accept. I was helping Caitlin Clark on the basketball court. That's why I can't pay you. They're not accepting that. You know what I mean? So I think what it ultimately comes down to is that they have to pick their battles, for sure. I was, being a little facetious there, but nonetheless, and you wonder why. You look at it and you wonder why they're 2-9. With that talent that they have. We mentioned Caitlin Clark. We know Boston is there. You mentioned Mitchell, and I was going to mention her as well later on in the show, Jay. Mitchell she's an absolute baller, without question, man. So, yeah, I think these ladies are starting to pick their spots. They know that Caitlin Clark has that money, a $25 million Nike deal, all these other endorsements that come through. She has the rookie contract as the #1 overall pick. So she's got her money. She's got her bag, as the kids call it today. She's got her bag. They don't have that same, luxury, things of that nature. So now I think it has a lot to do with that. I could be wrong in my Charles Barkley voice, but I doubt it.
Yeah,
I could be wrong, but I doubt it.
Yeah, I think so. But I also think, like you guys said, she's still a young player. It could be a slight attitude adjustment as well. Maybe right now in this moment, because she's trying to figure out her game on the court. Maybe she's not being quite the best teammate at this moment, but that'll change with time, and then vice versa. They don't know how to approach her, or maybe how to treat her. Do we treat you like a rookie? Do we treat you like the so-called star that everybody wants you to be? How are we supposed to approach you with different things? And that's a learning thing probably for everybody in that locker room. If it's anything worse, which I hope not, but something's got to change on that court, because if you knock one of my teammates down, I got your back. That's just point blank, period. All right, guys.